Hey yo, what's going on, you sexy ass motherfuckers? It's me. I'm back at it again with part 3 to What a Deku with Smoke. But before we get into the video, I'd like to point out that school is going to start back up for me in less than 2 weeks. And I also have football starting next week on Monday. And I'm going to be putting a lot of stuff into that. But hopefully I'll be able to keep at least uploading the video a week or somewhere close to that range. Um, Hopefully I don't stray off too far from that. Or I'm also going to try to put 2 videos out a week. Although I don't find that highly likely, I'll try my best. But other than that, I also got another thing. I'm going to try to finish this within the next part. After that, I'm going to bring back Cartel, do a part of that, maybe 2. And then I'll start What If Deku with Cyclops. But other than that, I'm done with all the announcements. So let's get back into What If Deku with Smoke. As last time, we left off with them passing the midterms exams, and they had a few days before they went to camp, so Izuku's been training, and he accidentally found out that he was able to heal other people with his smoke, depending on his intentions. He didn't know this until now, and he found it out completely by accident. And when he healed the person, it did take a toll on his body, and he had a thought that if he could heal other people, especially with the type of healing factor he has, he figured that he might be able to help All Might with his injury, possibly even save him from his injury. As one day, during lunch, he has a talk with All Might. As he says, All Might, I want to talk to you about healing your injury. As All Might says, look kid, I've tried everything. Nothing's worked. As Izuku says, well, I found out that I could heal other people using my smoke. I just want you to give me a shot. Just one shot. As All Might says, alright then, kid. As Izuku says, alright then. After school, we can try because I don't know how taxing it'll be on my body, and I really don't have anything else to do. As All Might says, alright. As after school, they meet up, and Izuku starts healing All Might. And All Might isn't looking. He doesn't want to look. He doesn't want to be given false hope. As Izuku's healing him, he notices it's healing. It's working. Slowly but surely it is working, although it is draining his stamina a lot. As after he's completely out of it, it's almost completely full. It's not full, but it's almost completely healed. Around 90 to 85% healed. As the whole thing took like an hour and a half. As Zuko was doing everything to heal him, and he completely drained his body. As he says, it worked. Do you feel better? As All Might says, yes, I feel great. As Izuku says, well, yeah, I mean, I put everything into healing, and shit, it even went faster than my healing factor. If I had that type of injury, it probably would have taken me days. So, I mean, shit, this is amazing. As All Might says, thank you, young Izuku. Thank you. As then he buffs up and he says he doesn't feel much of a strain on his body as he used to. And then he says, I might even be able to be the hero, the symbol of peace for a long time now. Jesus says, well, you're welcome then, man. As he walks on and says, all right, then we'll do this next week because I'm hella fucking tired. I don't have anything left in the fucking tank. So Omar says, all right then, Izuku, goodbye. As we go to the next day, and they are training, and Izuku decides to get some improvements on his costume. So he goes to meet Power Loader. As is about to open the door, the same thing happens as in the anime, with Mei landing on top of him after an explosion. As Power Loader comes out and says, "Damn it, Mei, I need you to stop destroying the area. If you do it one more time, I'm gonna ban your ass." As Mei says, "Sorry, sorry," as she looks up and Izuku looks down, not flustered this time, as he says, "Oh, you're Mei Hatsume, if I remember correctly." As she look as she looks at him and she says, "Oh, you're that boy that I teamed up with in the sports festival. What was your name again?" Izuku says, "Izuku, just Izuku." As he gets up, picking her up, and that kind of surprised her a little, as he says hello to Power Loader, asking if he could get some stuff added to his costume. As Power Loader asks what he wants, as he says, "Oh, I just wanted some kunai." As Mei hears this, and she had something in the woodworks that was quite similar to that, but instead of being regular ones, they were exploding ones. And she asked Power Loader if she could present it to him. As he says, "Fine, if you go at it. If he wants it, he'll have it." As she does, and she tells Izuku that, "Hey, hey, hey, I have some exploding kunai if you would want those instead." As Izuku says, "You know what? I could actually use those. I'd appreciate it if you could just keep making me them with this, and like a monthly supply or something. That's fine with you." As she says, "That would be amazing. I could probably make some improvements along the way as well." As Izuku says, "Oh, damn, thank you." As they start talking about all the stuff that they could improve upon, besides having it just explode, as Power Loader sees the excitement in Mei, as after they're done talking, he talks to Izuku, and he says, "I saw the way she was talking with you, and how you were able to get her entertained without having her do her crazy stuff in the lab. I would appreciate it if you could continue doing that." As Izuku says, "What do you mean by that?" As Parlor says, "Maybe you could become a friend." She doesn't really have any, especially since she spends all her time in here, which I don't see as very healthy. I like it. I like her enthusiasm. I like her dedication. But I would also like for her to spend at least a little time with people. As Zuko says, "All right then, I'll see what I can do." As they head off, and we fast forward to them finally going to the camp. As obviously they're heading there, and when they get there, they stop. As everyone's asking, why are we stopping? As Aizawa says, "Just get out." As they all get out, Izuku says, "All right then," not questioning further. As when they get out, they see the wild, wild pussycats, but only two of them. Izuku says, "Oh, you're the wild, wild pussycats." As they all introduce themselves, Izuku notices a boy on the side, but he doesn't pay no mind to him. As they start explaining to them why they're there, and then they start explaining that where their base is, as then everyone's like, "Wait, hold on. Why did we stop here?" Ah, shit. As then out of nowhere, the ground starts falling apart, and then they fall down. As she yells out, "You should be able to get there by noon. Good luck." As everyone's like, "Fuck." As Izuku just tells him, "Don't worry, it won't be that long. Just use your quirks and survive." As they start heading forward and fighting the monsters, but they get there pretty easily. Well, at least Izuku does, because everyone else is tired of shit. And when they get there, Mandalay starts explaining that she maybe underestimated how long it would actually take them to get there, and she was sorry about that. As obviously, Pixie Bob starts doing the same thing she does in the anime, and Zizuku says age, and she gets a little mad about that. But he starts explaining that, no, I wasn't going to mention your age, as she tightens her grip on his face. He's like, oh, my fault, my fault. I was trying to say, why is there a kid here? As Mandalay starts explaining that that's her nephew, uh, and he's living there with them. As Izuku goes to introduce himself, he says, hello, my name is Izuku, I'm part of the UA Hero Course. It's nice to meet you. As then he notices Koda getting ready to punch him, but he just punches through smoke. As he says, whoa there, you're getting a little feisty there, kid. As he says, I hate heroes. As Izuku's like, huh, I wonder what happened to that kid. As we fast forward to them, obviously, in the hot springs or whatever it is, and Mineta doing the same shit he does in the anime, going over the wall, but him being stopped by Koda. As Koda obviously looks over the other side of the wall, and he gets a little flustered and falls off as Izuku just catches him as he's unconscious, as he takes him to Pixie, Bob, and Mandalay, as he asks, why does he dislike heroes? As Mandalay obviously explains what happened to his parents, as Izuku understands, and he's like, oh, I can see how that could skew his view on heroes, especially with that happening to him at such a young age. Hopefully, he'll change his opinion within due time. Hell, maybe he might even become a hero in the future, with the right guidance. As he walks out, as Mandalay thanks him for saving him, as Izuku says, it was nothing. No sweat. You're welcome. As we fast forward to them training, doing all their normal things in the anime, as they finally go to the night thing with everyone scaring each other. As then, during that, we have smoke coming in. Same thing occurs, people getting knocked out, mostly from class 1B and people on the trail. And then we see that Bakugo come face to face. Bakugo Todoroki come face to face with a teeth villain. And then, out of nowhere, Pixie Bob is attacked. As everything occurs, as usual in the anime, Izuku not stepping in because he's obviously not allowed to. As Mandalay tells Izuku to take charge and take everyone back. As Izuku decides to make a clone. As he tells everyone to follow the clone back to safety. And for the clone to disperse and get as much information as it can. As Izuku tells Mandalay that he knows where Koda is because obviously he went to follow Koda back to his little secret hideout to give him food. As Mandalay says, fine, just be quick and do not engage. As Izuku says, oh, I know. As Izuku teleports to the secret hideout, it taking a little bit of stamina away from him, making him a little tired because it was obviously a pretty long distance. As he then sees Koda face to face with a big hooded figure. As he sees the big hooded figure about to hit him, as he gets Koda out of the way. As Koda's obviously scared and he's stiff, as he looks towards the hooded figure and he sees that it's a man who has one eye. As Izuku asks the man what he was doing there, questioning his motives for attacking the camp, as the hooded figure takes off his robe, as he tells him, we're here for a kid named Bakugo Katsuki. Do you know of him? As he smiles, as Izuku says, oh. And why is that? As he gets ready to fight, telling Koda, look, Koda, this, this is what a real hero does. Just watch and learn. As he smiles, as he turns back to Muscular, as as Muscular responds with saying, no reason in particular. We just want him to join our ranks, you could say. As Izuku kinda just laughs, he chuckles. You think Bakugo, one of the most explosive motherfuckers I've ever seen, pun intended, would join you? Yo, that's like the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But keep going, keep trying. It'll all end for naught. As they engage in battle, Izuku obviously having to dodge some of his blows because Muscular is quite quick. Also, Izuku does have to protect Koda because he wants him to watch and learn and see why his parents had to do what they had to do. He doesn't want him to just keep on hating heroes forever, or not hating, but more as disliking them, discrediting them. As he tells Koda, this this is what a hero does, Koda. As he's continued to fight Muscular, almost beating him single-handedly, like pretty easily, because of the amount of clones and smoke that he's using, diverting his every move and making his real body not even be able to be hit. As Muscular is getting tired of this as he goes all out, going 100%. As Zuko now knows that he got him on the edge, as he's now making reckless moves, not thinking about his moves at all. So he uses his opportunity, and then for one split second, he let his guard down as Muscular was able to punch him in the gut, severely hurting him, not injuring him, but hurting him bad enough to where he had to just wait a little, coming back from the recoil of the pain. As Muscular, within that moment, takes the opportunity to rush and blitz for Koda, intending to kill him. As Zuko says, fuck, as he teleports in front of Koda, as he's covering him, hugging him, as Muscular punches him in the back, breaking it. Izuku being fucked up as shit now. As he says, damn, ow, the fuck. As he says, well, maybe it wasn't the right choice to do this right now. Ugh. As Muscular starts laughing, he says, see, this is what happens when you try to play hero, you dumb kid. As he gets ready to hit him, as Koda uses his quirk and says, stop it, as he got out of the grasp of Izuku. As Izuku says, what are you doing? Get back over here. As Muscular is now going for Koda again, as his attention was diverted to him. As Izuku takes a split second to rush at him with full strength, pulling his fist back to the max, hitting him in the head, knocking him out. As he can barely walk, as he's really fucking hurt now, as he makes clones that are perfect so that he could be carried away. As he tells his Koda to hop on, as they start making their way back to the camp, not fully knowing the situation, but they do know one thing: they are here for Bakugo. As now Izuku's really fucked up, heading back down there, not knowing what he could face, as he heads back to the place where Mandalay was, telling her that he got Koda back, as she tells him to take him back and for him to go back with him, seeing the injuries that he has now. As she says, what happened over there? As Izuku says, we fought a villain, and I made a dumb decision. Now I have to live with that. As his clones carry him off, as on the way he meets Aizawa, who's running back after defeating the clone of Dabi, as he sees Izuku, as he tells him, what happened here, kid? As Izuku says, I got in a little bit of a fight. Nothing too bad. As Aizawa sees his back as his clothes were fucked up, so he can see the damage that he took, and it's bruised and it's bloody. As Aizawa says, "Kid, what? Your shit's broken. What do you mean? It's fine." As Izuku says, "No, no, no, it's fine. I have my healing for this specific reason. I can fight a little reckless sometimes, and I did a dumb decision, but it worked out in the end." As Koda's crying, he says, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." As Izuku says, "No, it's fine, it's fine." As he tells Aizawa to take him, as Aizawa says, "Fine, what are you gonna go do?" As Izuku says, "I have to go tell Mandalay is something again. I forgot to tell her when I was there." As he's now basically running off adrenaline as in the anime. As Aizawa lets him, as he tells him to also send another message that all the kids are allowed to use their quirks to protect themselves and take down the villains. As Izuku goes back, taking out Splinter and Magna, and he tells Mondelez to tell every student in the camp that they can use their quirks, and to specifically tell them that if they find Bakugo, to protect him, because that is what they're after. As she does this, as Izuku runs off, and Mandalay yelling at him, not her, at him, to go back to camp, as he tells her that he can't do that. He has to go find Bakugo so that he can protect him. As she says, "But look at you, you're hurt." As he says, "Never mind that. We have bigger problems on our hands besides me being hurt right now." As he's a little hunched over, so it looks a little funny when he's saying that. As he starts running, as he finds Shoji, as he sees that his arm is torn apart, as he asks him, "What happened here?" As Shoji says, "Shh, don't talk so loud." As Izuku says, "What's going on?" As then he looks up and he says, "Oh shit, is that Tokoyami?" As he says, "Yes, we were fighting some sort of villain that used his teeth, and he cut my hand off, and was seeing this Tokoyami got a little mad, and his quirk got released, and you know him, he can't really control it in the dark." As Izuku says, "Ah, damn." As he gets an idea, as he says, "Do you think we can lure him to the villain? Do you remember where he last was?" As he says, "Yeah, he went to the," as he points to the direction where they ran off from. "Yeah, he was back there. I don't know if he's still there, but what are you thinking?" As Izuku says, "Maybe we could lure him, Tokoyami, to the villain, have him defeated, and then find Bakugo or Todoroki to use their fire or explosions to light up the area." As Shoshi says, "Fine." As they do that, and they finally find Bakugo and Todoroki fighting Moonfish, or whatever that man's name is. As Tokoyami does the same thing as he does in the anime. Izuku being fucked up, not really being able to help. As he then yells at Shoto and Bakugo to use their quirks to help Tokoyami calm down and, release his quirk. As they do that, and now they run off trying to get back. As in now they run into both Uraraka and Sue fighting Toga. As when Toga starts running away, she obviously does the same thing she does in anime, catching feelings for Izuku, but not really. She's just a crazy ass bitch. Nah. As then Izuku notices that both Bakugo and Tokoyami aren't behind them anymore. As he starts looking around, he says, "Guys, where where's Bakugo? Where's Tokoyami?" As they start looking around, they say, "Weren't they just behind us a second ago?" As Izuku looks up, as he sees Mr. Compress, and he's obviously fiddling with his marbles, and he shows him that he has both of them. As he starts explaining that we originally came here for Bakugo, but I saw Tokoyami and the amazing power he had and how he took out Moonfish. I would love to add that to our squad as well. As then he does the same thing, hiding the marbles, replacing them with other ones, put it in his pocket. As Shoto releases his ice onto him, as he doesn't really care. He dodges it pretty easily. It says, "Whoa there, kid. Chill out. We're not here to kill anyone, now are we?" As Izuku says, "Bullshit! One of your members almost killed a kid. You think I'd believe anything that comes from your mouth? Hell no." As he starts trying to fight him, but I mean, obviously in the condition he's in, he really can't do anything. Instead, making clones, but them easily being dispersed. As he starts, doing anything he can, but he can't, as Mr. Compress easily gets away. As everything occurs as usual in the anime, Izuku telling Uraraka to make them weightless and for Sue to throw them at Mr. Compress, landing on him as they get in a fight between them, Dabi twice, Toga, Compress, and obviously Shoji and Shoto and Izuku. Izuku and the squad having the upper hand because of Izuku's distractions that he's able to make. But as Shoji is able to grab the marbles, he starts running, picking up Izuku as they run into the Nomu, as they go in another direction, as they run into Kurogiri. As Izuku says, "Oh man, not this motherfucker again, bruh. Alright, we just gotta go somewhere else." As, they start running, trying to run at least, as Shoji says, "Come on." As then, Kurogiri goes back to the rest of the League of Villains, as Dabi says, "Wait, shouldn't we just go for your marbles?" As Compress says, "No, it's fine. They focused too much on one thing that it blinded them. Turns out, I have them right here," as he opens his mouth, revealing both Tokoyami and Bakugo, as he obviously releases his marbles, as it appears to be just Todoroki's ice, as Izuku says, "Fuck," as he teleports, using probably the last bits of stamina that he has to try and get it, both Tokoyami and Bakugo, as he punches him, but unbeknownst to him, Aoyama accidentally shoots his laser beam at him, and he wasn't trying to hit Izuku, he was trying to hit Compress to at least distract him so that he could at least knock the marbles out of his mouth, but instead he hits Izuku, which then only allows Izuku to grab Tokoyami and not Bakugo. So they're able to take Bakugo, and now Izuku's pissed as fuck at telling Aoyama why he shot him, as Aoyama's trying to explain that he didn't mean to. He's sorry. He's very, very sorry. Izuku just starts screaming out loud like, "Fuck, fuck." Like he's mad, as, he passes out finally because of his injuries, as everything goes as usual, as, now Buck goes with the League of Villains and they have to mount the attack, as Momo obviously put the tracker on the Nomu, which gives them 2 locations to find and investigate. As Izuku wakes up 2 days later, his body being almost completely fine now, due to him being rushed into immediate surgery so that his back wouldn't be completely fucked up, and everything being in place so that his body could regenerate, and it taking a long process. And obviously with the amount of stamina he had left, he had to recover even more. So his injuries are basically fine now. His arm is completely fine. Recovery Girl was able to help with that. As when he wakes up, he notices that Kaminari is there, as he tells everyone else, like, "Hey guys, he's awake, finally." As they all rush in there, talking about the situation that happened, as Ayama comes up and apologizes profusely for his actions, as Izuku says, "You don't gotta apologize, man. I understand what you were trying to do. I'm sorry that in the moment I yelled at you for no reason at all. It wasn't your fault. It was mine. I should have seen your blast coming. It's fine, man. Just don't worry about it. Don't sweat it." As then Kirishima comes up telling Izuku that they should go get Bakugo back, as they overheard him and Todoroki that Momo put a tracker on the Nomu, possibly revealing where Bakugo is. As Zuko thinks about this, as Ida steps in telling them that it's dumb, they should already know what could happen, especially after the stain situation. As Izuku says, yes, but I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. But all I know is that I do have to go save him. I have to. I was this close, man. This close. And who knows what they could be doing with him right now. What if he dies and we had the ability to go save him and yet we didn't? As Ida Ida's mad at Izuku. Yeah, obviously after what he told him to not go do anything reckless and stupid. And he tells Izuku, you should already know that I'm not gonna allow this. As Izuku says, look, I'm the class rep. I understand that. I know I have responsibilities. But this is one of our classmates. If I'm a class rep, I'm gonna go save him. That's my duty as class rep, to always keep my classmates in mind. As Ida just grunts and says, fine, then do what you want. As Kirishima obviously tells Izuku that at the end of the day, they're gonna go out and they're gonna go find Bakugo. As he says, both me and Todoroki are already on board. As Kirishima then tells Izuku that they asked Momo to come along and they'll see if her decision is whether to go or not at the end of the day. Now they just want to wait for Izuku and then they're complete. As we fast forward tonight, as Izuku's cleared from his injuries, not really having to tell anyone anything because he doesn't really have any close relationships besides the people in his classroom, but they already visited him. And, he texted May because he kept in contact with her while he was at camp talking about improvements that they could make. But, he said he was a little slick with it. So he asked her, she wanted to hang out after all this was done. And she said, sure, pretty enthusiastically. As, that's really the only person he texts, and his boss as well, because he still works. As he then tells the doctors that he's gonna head out now, as they say bye, as he walks out, and he sees both Shoto and Kirishima there waiting for him, as they say, Izuku, we're happy that you're willing to join us. As Izuku says, you really think I wasn't gonna join you after what I said? As Kirishima said, yeah, but still, we were unsure. There's plenty of risks that are coming with this. As Zuko says, yes, I understand, but I have to go get this man back. I can't let him get hurt in any way, because if he does get hurt, it's gonna be something that's gonna be on my mind for a while, and I don't want that to happen. As in a few moments later, Momo comes out, as now they got the whole gang together. And then out of nowhere, Ida appears as he says, I I know y'all aren't gonna stop. That's why I decided to go with you. As everyone's like, wait, what? Why? As Ida says, because I, even though it's stupid of y'all and that y'all should let the pro heroes handle it, I know I can't stop. So I'm gonna go with y'all to make sure that y'all don't fight anyone and that we are just going there to save Bakugo. As everyone agrees, saying that even if they did have to fight, they wouldn't want to because of how powerful the League of Villains are. As they start heading out buying their costumes, obviously, as Momo suggests. As Izuku, he buys the same thing, but he does buy something extra. He buys a mask, and he buys a robe that he's able to hide away pretty easily from everyone else because he fully intends on ending this tonight. He plans on ending the League of Villains. He's tired of them. He doesn't want this to go any further. And what happened to Bakugo solidified what he wanted to do for a brick, bro. he wanted to do this for a minute. As they start walking, as they obviously see the interview that's going on with Aizawa and everyone else talking about the situation that happened at the camp. As they say, never mind this, we have to go get Bakugo now. As they head to this location, as Kirishima says that he bought a pair of binoculars, as Izuku says, here, give him here, I can jump up and look. As he jumps up and he stares into the window, as he looks around for a bit, and then he notices that on the right hand side he sees a green glowing object. As he zooms in a little further, as he notices that it's brains. As Izuku's a little appalled by this, as he is shocked, as he tells everyone else, guys, I don't think we have the right location. I think this is where they make the Nomu. As everyone is like, really? As Kirishima props up there and he says, oh my god, this is where they make the Nomu. As they obviously see a car being picked up on the side, as obviously everything else is occurring as originally in the anime on the other side, where All Might and everyone else is. As the car slams down, destroying everything in the vicinity, especially the Nomus. As then, after a short while, with everyone, Shigaraki, Dabi disappearing from the bar to the location, they see a man with a mask and the number 3 hero, Best Genus, trying to capture him. As then out of nowhere, he uses his power and defeats them with one blow. As Best Genus tries resisting, as All for One just shoots him with some type of quirk in the stomach, as everyone is stunned and scared now. Izuku not as much, he's able to hold his composure as he's trying to think of ways to be able to get out of this situation, knowing that they're in the wrong location now. But then, after a few seconds, Bakugo and everyone else appears as he says, damn it, now we can't leave. Fuck. As, Izuku looks over to everyone else and them being scared and he says, nah, I can't let them continue on like this. As he creates a clone and he disappears, going into his smoke form, as the clone tells everyone else to hold on to him as he's going to teleport them out of there. As Kirishima says, but Bakugo's right there. As Izuku says, don't worry, I'll get him. As he says, wait. As he says that a little too loud, but they're already gone beforehand, as All for One shoots the area that they were at, but they're no longer there. As, Bakugo recognized the voice as he says, Kirishima. As then, out of nowhere, another clone appears. This time, grabbing Bakugo, and at the same time, All Might coming way sooner than he does in the anime, because of him being healed up now, and him still having one for all. So, he's gonna get this fight pretty easily, as, All for One is like, wait, what the hell? How are you here this fast? I swear I gravely injured you, as All Might says. You did, but luckily I found someone who was able to heal me. And I'm happy. Now, I can finally defeat you. As Izuku takes Bakugo away, teleporting him to a different location, as now Izuku puts on the robe and dons the mask, covering his face and everything else so that he doesn't get noticed on television as he sees helicopters flying in the area. As this time, instead of All for One teleporting Shigaraki away immediately, he asks for his assistance, knowing that he can't take on All Might, who's almost near his prime, basically, with the type of injuries he has. So everyone in the League of Villains is just ganging up on All Might. And this is a little bit of a problem for him because now he has to deal with other people, especially Shigaraki with his disintegration quirk, as he gets pretty injured by Shigaraki, as he was caught off guard because of Dabi creating the diversion and All for One using everything he can to defeat All Might, as he touches All Might where his injury was, making it worse, as Izuku now just decides to step in, creating clones and having each one take on someone from the League of Villains, and he has his main body with All Might, as All Might says, who are you? As Izuku says, it's me. It's Izuku. As All Might says, what are you doing here, kid? You can't do this. You can't be using your quirk in public like this. If you get caught, you'll be arrested. As Izuku says, I know, that's why I have a mask. Now sit down. I still have to heal you. This will only take a couple, 2 minutes at most. And then you'll be back at 100%. As then Izuku says, and All Might, I made my decision. I'll take the quirk now, if you want. As All Might decides this is the best situation he can have right now. If Izuku is able to take the quirk, then any suspicion of Izuku being there, because his clones that were with both Bakugo and the rest of the group, one of them is still there, as he's making himself seem like he's the real Izuku. So they don't know that the hooded figure is actually Izuku. So no, he doesn't have any connections with them as the moment. So he's able to divert, every eyes from him, as he tells All Might that if he gives him the quirk right now, it'll be making him less suspicious, and he'll be able to help him. As All Might says, fine then. As he gives him the piece of hair, Izuku quickly digests it because he's able to do that. As now he has One for All. So this is basically a cakewalk, and All for One notices the situation he's in as he says, fuck. As he force activates Kurigiro's quirk, and he uses Magna's quirk as well, as Toga dispersed of Izuku's clone, and he teleports the rest of the League of Villains away, leaving only him, Izuku, and All Might on the battlefield. As Izuku, with the power of One for All now, decides to take matters into his own hands, as he decides that whoever this man is, seeing as he has what appears to be multiple quirks, he doesn't know how, and he doesn't seem to act like a Nomu, All Might seeming to know him, as he overheard the conversations that they had, and with the similarity of the names of the quirks, he deduces that All for One is able to either steal quirks or create quirks out of nothing, as obviously the latter seeming less, probable, but that's what he came up with. As Izuku decides that this man cannot be let to live. He has to die, as he still has to heal All Might for another minute and a half, so he decides to end this quick. His body is honed enough to be able to use a good amount of One for All, better than Izuku was in canon, as he's able to instantly use about 30%. As even though this might not seem like enough, paired with his superhuman strength already, it is enough. If he's able to catch All for One off guard and to stop the media from seeing what he's going to do, he has to think of a plan that'll work pretty easily. So he decides to create a sort of smoke screen, not using his power, but with the debris that's all up in the air. So he decides to carefully miss, and he creates smoke, and he punches the ground, creating a cloud that no one is able to see through, as he takes his time to begin fighting All for One, as All for One's getting pushed back pretty easily. Izuku deciding to make the death seem not that it was his fault, but it was more All for One's strain on the body that caused him to die. An example would be like a overload of quirks, him using too much in the frail body he had, trying to make his death seem like it was on accident, as Izuku is fighting his heart out, and he decides to go past the percentage he can use, and he ends up using 60%, breaking his bones and making his arm look bloodied, as he has to still keep up the persona or the facade that that's not him. So he is using his stamina to keep his clones in place, dispersing the other ones, as the only one that's obviously still there is the one that's with the rest of the group, as he is fighting all hell within the matter of a minute and a half, as he finally hits All for One hard enough to injure him even further, causing his body to sort of destroy and collapse on itself with the strain he's putting on his body, trying to keep up with Izuku, and now All Might getting up because his injury is now fully healed. He can't, and his body just drops as All Might is shocked as he's about to go to Deku and tell him why he did this. But Izuku instantly disappears as fast as he can to get away from the public's view. All the public saw was a hooded figure help All Might and then disappear. So the public thinks that All Might defeated All for One, and now the symbol of peace is reigning supreme. Which in this story, All Might doesn't go to the frail, weak form that he does in the canon. Instead, he's standing strong, tall, and seemingly uninjured, which deters people from rising up and forming other groups, as opposed to the anime or the canon. So, All for One is now dead. All Might is fully healed, which makes it for him to be able to continue doing his hero work. And the League of Villains is now in a state of panic, mostly Shigaraki, because now his master is dead. As a few hours later, it was revealed the cause of death was too much strain on the body, seemingly from the amount of stuff or quirks that he was using. So, All Might obviously was not put under fire for killing a man because he didn't know that he was going to die, as he was doing his best to protect everyone else and everyone else's understanding of that. So, now everything's all in chaos. The League of Villains is sort of fucked. Shigaraki is now pissed as hell, but they really can't do anything now. They don't have their leader. As this all ends, Izuku going back to his home as the clone continues, pretending that he's him, as he, tells the rest of the group that he's gonna go home now. They have Bakugo and they, obviously bring him to UA as Izuku leaves, as the clone finally dispersed, and Izuku just lays in his bed, tired as fuck, his arms bloodied, bruised, broken, but he thinks that if he rests well tonight, doesn't go anywhere the day after, as he obviously has to wake up, but he'll tell everyone that he feels a little sick and he doesn't feel like going out of his house that day, that he'll be able to recover well enough to not raise any eyebrows, as that's what he does. As we fast forward to the aftermath of the situation, which is all pretty good. A powerful villain was put to rest, obviously. All Might, the symbol of peace, is well. He is basically full health. He is full health. As, school resumes later, as, obviously they have to talk about having the provisional license exams. As always says, with this monumental, series of events, they decide that they should push for them to have the provisional license exams sooner than they would if everything had gone according to plan. But with the influx of villains and them being attacked, they decide to do this earlier so that they have the ability to protect themselves in any situation. As he also introduces the dorms, as everyone's like, oh, cool. As they're all not even shaken from the events that occurred barely a week prior. As everyone's getting permission. As Izuku doesn't really have to, as he says, all right, then I'll just move into the dorms. I don't have to pay rent anymore. As he says, you know what? All right, that's good. That's good for me. As he asks if he'll still be able to work. As always says, if you can send a clone to work, that's fine. I don't really care about that because you're not sending your actual person there. As he says, all right then. As everything's normal now. So they obviously do their dorm stuff as they go through every single room. As they get to his room, and his room's not actually the same. It doesn't have all the All Might shit. He does have a little bit of All Might stuff, but that's not the majority of his room. His room's a little more monotone, gray, whites, blacks. As he has a desk there, with a lot of stuff. His studies, his uh, laptop, and everyone's pretty impressed with his room. As he doesn't know how to get out, as he doesn't like people prying into his stuff. As he has some stuff on his table that he doesn't want anyone to see. As everyone's like, okay, okay, okay. As obviously Sato still wins in the original, as in the original. As later on they start talking about the provisional license exams. As we get to the day where they start going there. As everyone, obviously having worked on their special move beforehand, is now feeling like they're well equipped to, pass this, as everyone's feeling pretty confident about themselves, especially with how Izuku's, helping the class progress. As he didn't only help himself, but he helped everyone else who, who needed help. As they feel well, they have a good, well-rounded leader. As they obviously head there, and when they get there, they obviously meet the people from Shiketsu and the other school with the fake Izuku. Um, as they go through all that dilly dally, as they finally head to the first exam. As the guy explains what the objective is, and Izuku basically points out that this is just extreme dodgeball in a sense. Like all you had to do is just hit all three targets on your body, and you're just out, or you do it to someone else and then you pass. You have to do it to two people. This is extreme dodgeball, bro. What the fuck? As everyone in this class agrees with him. Like, yeah, this does seem like extreme dodgeball. Uh, as Izuku, gashes them up, as he basically gets the point of the exams, as he tells them that they should stick together. As Bakugo tells him that he's not going to stay with the group, as Todoroki does the same. As Izuku says, alright then, fine, go on your own. But if y'all don't pass, don't blame it on us. As he lets them leave. As Izuku tells the rest of the class, alright, now, before we start, keep in mind that they do know what our quirks are. We haven't seen them on TV, but they have seen us, especially at the UA Sports Festival. So they know what weaknesses we have, but they don't know how much we've improved. Just give them hell, man. Do what you please, but don't impede on your classmates' success. So, work together, fight hard, fight smart, okay? Very smart, and just pass. If you need any help, ask for a classmate for assistance, and that's all you need. Stick together, and we're definitely gonna pass this fast. I ain't gonna let any single one of y'all fail, at least this part. As they all decide to stick together, and they say, "Yeah." As they huddle up, and obviously the exam starts. Everyone spreading out as they find certain ways to get a vantage point. As then, out of nowhere, when they're running, a bunch of people just appear. As they all throw their balls at them. As Izuku says, "Man, get this shit out my face." As he just swipes his hand, as the amount of power he uses creates so much wind that it just knocks all the balls back, hitting some people in their targets, not obviously eliminating them, but this obviously causes them to be more cautious of what they're doing, as everyone's like, what the fuck? How do they have this much power? As Izuku says, alrighty, class, you heard what I said. Go crazy. As everyone's now just taking on everyone that's there. As they're winning. Because Izuku, when he was helping them, he helped them, but he made sure that they trained hard as fuck for the day that they had. As everyone's improved, as Izuku was able to make them all sore, make them all beat up, and then heal them again. As his stamina is now improved a lot, and by a lot I mean dramatically. As Izuku was able to break them and then heal them, and then break them and then heal them, so their quirks have improved a massive amount, pulling way far ahead compared to what they were in the anime. As everyone just basically passes almost instantly. As Zuko says, "Good job, class. That's how we roll." As he's wondering what Bakugo and his little group and Shoto are doing, but he says, "Nah, we don't need to worry about them. They're gonna pass. Have faith. Have faith." As they go to the commons area. So this time, he doesn't actually meet Cammy, who was Toga, but as Shigaraki sent for her to find a way to kill Izuku because he's mad, but obviously that doesn't happen here, so she misses her opportunity to. As Izuku is with his class celebrating, as they're the first people there. They're the first ones to pass, as Inasa obviously passed after them using his quirk. As everyone starts funneling in, as both Izuku and the rest of his class are happy, as they see Bakugo and his group and Todoroki pass almost at the exact same time. As Izuku is ecstatic, he's very proud of his class, seeing how far they've come in the short amount of time that they've had and known each other for. As he says, this calls for a celebration. After this, I'm gonna buy y'all a little something. I'm gonna get y'all a little, surprise when we get back to the dorms. So just wait. If one of y'all motherfuckers don't pass the next part, I'm gonna give you hell. I'm gonna make sure y'all don't eat for a week. Don't play with me. Y'all better fucking pass. As everyone gets a little tense, as they get a little scared because they see and remember what Izuku did to them, so they're like, ah, fuck, we gotta pass. We gotta pass. We gotta pass. As we obviously head into the next part, which is the rescue part of the exam. As now all the terrain is transformed into a sort of destroyed landscape as obviously the hug or whatever the fuck it's called in the anime members are, fake injured and, they need rescuing. As Zuko tells the class, to think before you act. Assess the situation first. Ask if they're fine. Ask where they're hurt. And help them in any way you can. Assure them that everything is going to be all right. As he takes his class with him to provide an example, as he hears a boy screaming, as he runs up to the boy and he says, are you okay? Is there anything wrong with you? Where are you hurt? As, the boy tells him, as he says, all right then, can you move? As the boy says, no, I can't. As he says, all right then, everything's going to be fine, okay, kid? Everything's going to be fine. Is there anything else I should know? As he picks up the boy, as he says, my grandfather's stuck in there. As he says, all right then, I'm going to take you over there to the, first aid center. As he leaves the clone to ascertain the rest of the situation with his grandfather. As he tells the boy everything is going to be all right. As then he looks at his class and he says, this is just an example of what y'all have to do. Now, follow suit, work fast and efficiently, and be wary because this might not be the full extent of this exam, insinuating that, something else might happen. As, the boy looks at him, he's like, he's quite smart, as he doesn't deduct any points. As Izuku gets to the first aid center, as, obviously the other people that were originally meant to be there aren't there. Most of them, actually. The people who, like, the fake Izuku's still there, and the rest of his class is there because they decided to do attack to retreat, but everyone else is, gone. As, he meets up with him, is telling him where he should put him and this, that. As after a while of saving people and rescuing them, Gang Orca appears, one of the baddest motherfuckers in the show. And don't at me, bro. Don't at me. As, obviously Gang Orca initiates battle, as Zuko is prioritizing the lives over fighting the villain, as he tells everyone to evacuate those who can't walk. They need assistance, as he creates clones to help him. As he sees that Gang Orca and his whole crew is a lot to deal with. So he tells the fake Izuku if he could use his quirk to at least distract them. And that's what he does. But Gang Orca uses his sonic waves to incapacitate him, as he wasn't able to get the full attack to go through. As Izuku says, man, this is such a fucking pain. I don't even want to fight right now. As, he tells Gang Orca to watch out because he isn't going to hold anything back. As he says, like I would care. Like you could even hurt me. As Zuko says, wait, hold on. I'm going to make you eat your words real quick. As he just blitzes his ass. That ass knocking him out in one blow. As he takes care of the rest of the henchmen quickly, just making quick work of them. As, the rest of the exam goes through, Todoroki and Bakugo don't pass as originally in the anime, so they still had to go through the extra license exams, and now they have to go through the suffering that Izuku is going to put them through. As now the rest of the class finally have their provisional licenses, as everyone is happy, everyone is ecstatic, as Izuku smiles at his class, proud of how far they've come, proud of the hurdles that they had to overcome, as he just smiles looking down at his license and he says, I did a good job. As, he obviously tells everyone to gather up as when they head back to the dorm, they're going to have a big feast. But he looks at Bakugo and he looks at Todoroki and he says, but you two are going to be in for something else. And you better be fucking ready. As that is where I'm going to end part 3 to What If Deku Was Smoke. Now, hopefully, I'm going to be able to wrap this up in the next part, which is going to be season 4. As, I'm gonna find a way to make sure that he is able to defeat both the Shiei Sakai and the League of Villains, and obviously somehow take care of the Meta Liberation Army. Uh, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do that, but it's gonna fucking work. It's gonna fucking work. As you know, hopefully y'all enjoyed this part. If you did, leave a like. Um, After I finish this series, obviously, as I said earlier in the beginning, I'm gonna bring out what if Izuku had a cartel and do a part of that, and then we're gonna have what if Izuku was Cyclops. But other than that, hopefully y'all have a blessed day. Alright, and I'll catch y'all sexy ass motherfuckers later.